The rifle problem. The assassins had a problem with their rifles. Several rifles were discovered and reported as opposed to the single Mannlicher Carcano 6.5mm rifle supposed to be left behind by Oswald. A closer look may reveal why these problems occurred. First weapon, Mannlicher Carcano 6.5mm rifle. This was the weapon that was eventually found on the 6th floor of the depository, hidden under some boxes on the far side of the building, away from the alleged sniper nest, and reportedly stashed there by Lee Harvey Oswald. However, this rifle was initially reported as being found on the 4th floor, and specifically not on the same floor as the 3 spent shell casings. Many researchers believe the rifle was not the rifle shown in the infamous backyard photo, which many researchers agree is a poorly doctored image, nor the rifle shown as evidence during the subsequent Warren Commission proceedings. There were no fingerprints initially found on the rifle after dusting for them until several days later, when Oswald's palm print was reportedly found on the rifle under the stock. When Oswald was given a paraffin test to see if there was gunshot residue on his body, the test came back positive for his hands, which could have been caused by handling paint during the day, but negative for his face. A person firing a rifle would have had their head and face covered in a cloud of residue as well. Second weapon, Mauser 7.92mm rifle. Initially, the first rifle discovered in the TSBD and reported to the media by the Dallas police was a bolt-action 7.92mm Mauser rifle with no scope. The officer who found the rifle even read to reporters the name of the weapon stamped into the receiver of the rifle letter by letter, Mauser. Authorities later said they mistook the Mauser rifle with no scope for the Mannlicher Carcano rifle with a scope. Third weapon, Lee Enfield 303 rifle. Several witnesses recounted police officers finding a rifle on the roof of the TSBD. In fact, the police officers were captured on film by the Dallas Cinema Associates standing on the east side fire escape of the TSBD holding up this weapon. Those who saw the rifle stated it looked like a Lee Enfield rifle, not a Mannlicher Carcano. Fourth weapon, Johnson semi-automatic 30-06 rifle. Another rifle reportedly found by police was a 30-06 rifle used previously in U.S. government-sponsored anti-Castro operations in Cuba. Further supporting this report was the fact that a 30-06 rifle casing was found on the roof of the Country Records building in 1976. Why the assassins had such a difficult time planting the appropriate weapon in the right location is a mystery. It is likely one of the shooters in the TSBD who used a Mauser rifle left it behind by mistake. The plan may have been for the plant team to be in the TSBD before the police arrived on the scene, allowing them to plant the Mannlicher Carcano and remove the Mauser. Since the shooters in the TSBD left without their weapons, they had to stash them somewhere. Due to poor planning on the conspirators' part, they did not get into the TSBD in time to make the switch. Consequently, when the plant team arrived late, they belatedly planted the Mannlicher Carcano and had to deal with the now embarrassing Mauser, which had to be covered up. A similar pattern seems apparent with the other rifles. The snipers most likely left them behind after the shooting so they could escape the immediate area undetected. The plan was for follow-on teams to secure these rifles discreetly and spirit them away unknown to the general public. However, since there were so many people in the area after the shooting, various people saw the rifles. If the shooters concealed the rifles at their sniper positions and recovered them later, or concealed them as they left, these embarrassing incidents would have been avoided. Instead, there were several rifle sightings to cover up. The bullet problem. While the conspirators failed to make it look like a single weapon was found and was in fact fired by Oswald, this part of their deception plan went better than it's cut off. I don't know what it says. Skipping ahead. Here we go. Better than efforts to conceal the actual number of shots fired. Since the conspirators planted only 3 shell casings in the depository, they were forced to explain the entire shooting with just 3 bullets. But more than just an errant bullet or two had to be explained. They had to cover up evidence revealing a dozen or more shots fired, but not planned for. Number 1 bullet. One of the first shots fired missed the target, striking the pavement on Elm Street near the president's limousine, seen by numerous eyewitnesses. This bullet distracted many people in the motorcade, causing them to look back over their shoulder for the source of the shot. The first missed shot drew most people's attention away from the subsequent frontal shot, striking the president in his throat. This first shot may have been fired from one of the shooters in the TSBD, and it is a mystery as how a shooter could have missed the target by such a wide margin. It may simply be because the president's limousine was a moving target and thus very difficult to hit on the first try. Number 2 bullet. Another early shot fired from the west front of the presidential limousine and went through the front windshield, hitting the president in the throat. Since the entry wound was relatively small, a smaller bullet of .222 caliber size may have been used. The supposed windshield itself was provided to the Warren Commission as evidence, but witnesses say it was a fake because it now had a crack in it as opposed to the original bullet hole. Some investigators believe the position of the original bullet hole on the left-hand side of the windshield indicates a shot that could have only come from the southern grassy knoll, not the northern one. Number 3 bullet. Another early shot missing the president and hitting a curb near the triple underpass, wounding bystander James Tague in the cheek with a fragment. The actual piece of curb was cut up and removed as evidence. This evidence has been accepted universally as proof of one of the bullets fired that missed the president. The shot was most likely fired from the Daltex building sniper position. Number 4 bullet. The bullet hitting the president in his upper right back, investigators theorize a shooter positioned behind the president on the roof of the Dallas County Records building made this shot. These same investigators say, due to the angle of the shot striking the president in the back, the bullet could not have possibly come out through the center of his throat as the exit wound. Number 5 bullet. Another near miss, lodging into the top inside windshield frame of the presidential limousine. This was most likely another shot fired from the Daltex building due to the relatively flat angle of trajectory. Number 6 bullet. This is the bullet striking Texas Governor Connally in the chest. One should note that a bullet hitting flesh, muscle, and bone, like a bullet hitting Governor Connally, would show visible signs of deformation. Even a bullet with a full metal jacket would deform on impact, unlike the magic bullet found later. Number 7 bullet. This is the bullet hitting Texas Governor Connally in the wrist. Again, any bullet that hit flesh, muscle, and bone like this would have deformed upon impact. Number 8 bullet. There is some evidence to indicate the wound to Texas Governor Connally's left thigh was from a separate bullet, and regardless if the bullet was a separate shot or not, again, it would show definite signs of deformation after striking a large muscle like the thigh. Number 9 bullet. The bullet striking the president in the front right side of his head. Some investigators believe a second bullet hit the president in the back of the head almost simultaneously as the front shot, but since the conspirators lost the president's brain during the subsequent autopsy, we will never know until the brain is found. The known right front head shot was from a frangible or exploding bullet. This type of fragmenting bullet is hard to identify in a post-shooting forensic investigation because the remaining fragments are so small and damaged they do not retain enough of the rifling marks from the gun's barrel, meaning they cannot be matched with the rifle they were fired from. Number 10 bullet. A missed shot hitting the Stemmons freeway sign, causing the conspirators to remove this sign and replace it with a new and noticeably larger one after the assassination. Number 11 bullet. Another miss ricocheting off the sidewalk running along the TSBD, later altered to look like it was an old, weathered mark. This shot is generally believed to have been fired from a western window from the TSBD. Number 12 bullet. Another miss bouncing off the concrete near a manhole cover next to Elm Street. Near this location were 2 furrows in the grass, which a police officer on the scene said looked like marks made from bullets. The woman who initially pointed out these furrows noted they led back to the northern grassy knoll. Number 13 bullet. A spent bullet later found in the grass of Dealey Plaza by a witness and then picked up by an unknown person assumed to be a government officer. The bullet and the officer were never seen again. Number 14 bullet. In 1966, a bullet was extracted from a building located a mile from and in line with the TSBD and was determined by the FBI to be a full metal jacket, .30 caliber M1 carbine bullet. In other words, it was not fired from Oswald's supposed rifle and must have been fired by another shooter with a different weapon. Number 15 bullet. In 1967, another bullet was found on top of a building located 8 blocks from the TSBD. This bullet was a jacketed .30 caliber soft point weighing 149 grains and was not from Lee Harvey Oswald's gun. Again, another shooter with a different weapon must have fired this bullet. Number 16 bullet. In 1974, a bullet fragment was found in Dealey Plaza, 500 yards from the TSBD. The FBI reported it was from a metal jacket, soft point, or hollow point sporting bullet. It was not fired from Lee Harvey Oswald's gun. Another shooter with a different weapon must have fired this bullet. Number 17 bullet. There is some evidence the snipers may have accidentally shot one of their own men in the crossfire. Several times after the shooting, a report was issued about a Secret Service agent who was shot during the assassination. Also, Jerry Coley and Charlie Mulkey, 2 reporters for the Dallas Morning News, discovered a fresh pool of red blood on some steps leading to Elm Street near the depository. Mulkey actually tasted the red liquid and noted it was blood. Both men returned later with their cameras and took pictures of the pool of blood. Other witnesses also confirmed the presence of bloodstains found near the scene of the shooting, either in a similar spot or other areas. It is possible one of the bogus Secret Service agents was wounded by an accident in the crossfire, and initial reports of a wounded Secret Service agent referred to this conspirator. In addition to this evidence showing more than 3 shots were allegedly fired that day, most of the eyewitnesses at Dealey Plaza stated anywhere from 6 to 8 shots were heard. Other eyewitnesses to the shooting stated they thought the president was struck with 6 or more shots. All these bullets indicate the snipers fired several volleys of shots, with different snipers firing during each volley. These bullets also reveal the majority of the shots missed their target. This is understandable, as there is nothing more difficult than trying to shoot a small moving target from within a large crowd of people without being seen. Since there was a mix of different snipers, some were more skilled than others. The skilled shot, fired through the front windshield and between several people and hitting the president in the throat, was impressive. In contrast, the shots fired from the TSBD, striking Governor Connolly, and missing President Kennedy by several feet reveal a poor shooter who had not practiced hitting a moving target before the assassination. Authors note, this list is not intended to be in the order the bullets were fired, as that is possible to discern. However, the suspected order of the shots was taken into account to make it easier to follow. Several of the bullets listed may not be hard evidence of a bullet, but the reader can decide on their own if more than the standard 3 bullets were fired during the assassination. Conclusion. The Dealey Plaza snipers had a difficult job, which ultimately proved impossible. Anyone can kill the president, but killing the president and framing a single person is something entirely different. The assassins did develop an urban sniping operation which displayed sophisticated, unconventional urban sniping methodology. While they did kill President Kennedy, they failed to cover up the assassination. The most salient reason for misrailing was the assassins spent more effort on killing the president than ensuring the forensic and physical evidence meshed with the actual execution. Notably, the assassins failed to match the number of rifles and bullets discovered after the operation with the evidence meant to link Lee Harvey Oswald to the shooting.